This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1798. The Time Value of Money, or Why 25 Years of Cable TV Doesn't Cost as Much as You Think, by Stephen Popick with GetRichSlowly.org. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's get right to today's post and start optimizing your life. The Time Value of Money, or Why 25 Years of Cable TV Doesn't Cost as Much as You Think, by Stephen Popick with GetRichSlowly.org. Just after Christmas, Carl Henley of The Motley Fool wrote about his cable bill and how much lost investment income that money represented. As an economist, I was intrigued by the notion and couldn't help but run the numbers. We economists are strange like that. Henley's calculations assume that the average person cares only about nominal, time-insensitive returns. That is, that $1 today is worth $1 tomorrow. But we economists know from all of our fancy pants research that generally speaking, that's not how people make decisions. Instead, when most folks make personal finance decisions, they take into account the time value of money. The time value of money. The time value of money is a complex term for a simple concept. Any given amount of money is worth more today than the same amount in the future. Assuming a 5% interest rate, for example, $100 today is worth $105 a year from now. Or working backward with the same assumed interest rate, $100 in a year is worth $95.24 today. And what? They're not the same? Nope. The time value of money has two main components, inflation and personal valuation. While Henley's main point is correct, reoccurring monthly charges can be costly in the long haul and can dramatically affect your retirement savings. The real long-term cost of his cable bill isn't actually $132,683. Citing research from Good Debt, Bad Debt, and other resources, Henley assumes a 10% annual rate of return on $100 monthly investments made for 25 years. His example assumes that we value $100 invested today the same as we value $100 invested 25 years from now. In reality, $100 today is likely to be worth much more than $100 in the future. Note, one reason stocks need to show strong long-term growth and why bonds pay interest is that investors must be compensated for the time value of money. Otherwise, investors could use that cash for something else. There's a simple rule to describe the conditions that make investors willing to invest in equities like stocks versus, say, TIPS, bonds that automatically adjust for inflation. Expected rate of return is greater than or equal to the expected inflation rate plus the time value of money. In other words, for an investment to make sense, its expected rate of return has to be greater than the total of the inflation rate. In general, people react to the real after-inflation rate of return, not the nominal pre-inflation rate of return. And your personal time value of money. What could you do with your money today other than put it in this investment? This is somewhat related to opportunity cost and is very tough to measure on a personal level. We each have a different time value of money. For you, a 1% high-yield savings account may tempt you to save, but your brother may rather spend the money on a new car instead. Painful, but not as much. Returning to Henley's cable bill, it's fine to assume constant rates over time to keep things simple. But to show the real cost of paying out for cable television, you have to work some economic magic, which I've done for you using a discounting routine or a net present value calculation. Note, though I may be violating the sacred code of economists, you can look behind the curtain to see my calculations with a Google spreadsheet. What I've done is take the long-term cost for cable television and compute a number that tells you what that's worth to you right now if you were to invest the money instead. We need to compare apples to apples, or dollars to dollars in this case. Assuming an annual inflation rate of about 3%, the net present value of $132,683 is about $63,250. That is, the $132,683 Henley could pay towards his cable bill over the next 25 years is actually worth about $63,250 if invested in equities, such as stocks or mutual funds, returning an average of 10% with 3% inflation in today's dollars. And assuming his personal time value of money, what the cash might be worth to him if he used elsewhere, is also 3%. Real cost of watching cable for 25 years instead of investing is about $30,000. If you extend the time frame to 30 years, that estimated cost grows to over $50,000. Your time frame matters. The moral of our story. When you look at savings in nominal terms, when you look at the raw numbers, you overemphasize the value of future holdings. The future is uncertain. Inflation gnaws at your money, and consuming today is more pleasurable and more certain than consuming later. This is a mistake that many people make when talking about personal finance. David Bach's famous latte factor from The Automatic Millionaire and other books is perhaps the most notable example of this fallacy. Bach ignored the time value of money. Still, his primary point that cutting recurring costs can help you meet your savings goals is completely valid. Small, easy changes to your habits can have an enormous impact on your future financial status. But it's important to consider all of the factors. One way to do that is to use a spreadsheet or something similar to compute the net present value of the proposed savings. When you do this, you can ask yourself questions like, would I rather have $30,000 today or cable television for the next 25 years? There's no one right answer. It all depends on your time value of money. You just listened to the post titled The Time Value of Money, or Why 25 Years of Cable TV Doesn't Cost as Much as You Think, by Stephen Popick with GetRichSlowly.org. You'd think paying your team would be an easy part of running a business, but that's far from true. With ever-changing tax laws, complex calculations, and different types of employees to account for, running payroll can be a pain in the neck. Luckily, Gusto's worked the last decade to make sure professionals like you can run payroll in minutes with just a few clicks. They'll even help with compliance, new state tax registration, and international contractor payments. But that's just scratching the surface of what Gusto can do for your business. From comprehensive benefits to hiring and onboarding tools and team management features, Gusto's platform is built to help your company scale with confidence. It's all part of Gusto's modern HR platform, one place to help build happy, healthy, and productive teams. We've been using Gusto for years, and they've saved us a ton of time. As a special thanks to our listeners, we're offering Gusto free for 3 months at gusto.com/OFD. Get the products you need to power your business at your fingertips at gusto.com/OFD. I thought this post was pretty interesting, but I'm not sure it does anyone any favors when it comes to choosing if you'll spend your money now or invest it for later. When I see calculations like, if you didn't spend X and you instead invested it, it'll be worth Y in 30 years, I typically don't get hung up on the specific numbers. The way I see it, these statements are really trying to communicate opportunity cost and the power of compound interest to entice people to spend less and invest more. 25% of US adults have no retirement savings at all. So as far as I'm concerned, encouraging people to save and invest more is a very good thing. However, I think a better way to communicate the advantages of saving and investing more isn't by contemplating how much money you'll have in the future. I think it's recognizing the benefits you can get right now. Not spending money on luxurious material possessions offers me a lot of peace of mind right now. Because I don't own a lot of expensive things, I have less things to clean, maintain, and protect. And anything lost, stolen, or damaged is really easy to replace. Furthermore, by front-loading all of my retirement savings during high-earning years relatively early in my career, I can take the foot off the gas in my 30s and enjoy working less. Same goes with keeping my overall expenses as low as possible. This allows me to work less and spend my time doing the things I really enjoy. I'm not sure delayed gratification works well for me. So if you're in the same boat, I hope considering all the ways you can benefit from spending less and investing more now is helpful. That'll do it for today and another installment of Optimal Finance Daily. Have a happy Thursday. Thank you for being here every day and listening. And I'll see you on the Friday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.